Yo guys, welcome back to Fulfillment Key. I know I'm recording out of a car, not usually in the outside, looking amazing. Just got out of a meeting. And today, I want to talk to you guys about how to set yourself up for financial success. And I know this is a really iffy topic. Now, lately we've been, starting to talk about finances more on YouTube or, just more in general. But this is something that a lot of people overlook and they don't talk about finances. But I really want to talk to you guys about how to set yourself up. So the first thing that I would say to set yourself up for financial freedom is to have a percentage plan. Now you're probably asking what a percentage plan is. You've seen the 50-30-20 rule, or you've seen the the alternative, which is save 15% after like all of your expenses, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But yeah, you're probably asking what is a percentage plan if you haven't already seen it. It's how you divvy up all of your earnings after taxes. Hopefully, you should be separating it if you're making money. You should be making another tax account if you're not. But that is what that means. However, I think that is the most dumb, way to do things. The 15%, not the percentage rule. I think that's genius. But I think the 15% is stupid, and whoever came up with it is just not in the right mentality. Of course, there's an exception to this rule. If you physically, after all of your expenses, don't have more than 15%, then it's impossible to, save more than 15%. But what I would tell you to do in that case is to cut down on your expenses, because expenses are your number one. For example, all that furniture in your house, are you really using it? Come on, let's be honest. Like, you have a couch and like 90% of the time nobody's over, right? You have a $2,000 couch. Like, this is one of the common things I see people have. And I think that Alex Becker really talked about this shit, and it was amazing. But like, basically, you're not using the couch. It's $2,000. You have $2,000 in a couch, right? Like, that's one of the things that's just completely, like, I do not understand, right? Like, for example, of course, I pay rent, and I barely have anything in my place. I literally have a desk. I have speakers, I have my laptop, and then I have my food, forks, spoons, books. That's it. Simple guy. And a bed, and some lighting around it. That's it. I don't got much, right? And you're probably asking, like, sure, like, but DJ, you make a lot of money, like, what the like, why don't you do anything, right? But the thing is, we gotta realize, when you start spending more money just because you make more money, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because a lot of these businesses that you run, or a lot of the things that you can do in the entrepreneurial space, are not guaranteed money. And I have to stress this enough. It is not guaranteed. So when you go out of your way to spend thousands of dollars, you're spending more than 50% of what you make on just like luxury living expenses. It's ridiculous, because I see people doing this stuff. And like, it's just, it's unnecessary, because what happens when you lose that money? Now you have a 50% overhead, and by the time your income drops, like 50 to 100%, or like not 100%, but 50 to 75%, that 50% is now more than your entire income that you were spending on luxury living, and you accustom yourself to these things. You, like, say that Lambo in your driveway, right? I mean, I'm not going to say that a Lambo is a terrible investment, because for some people, if you're a YouTuber, if you're doing some kind of marketing, a Lambo could be the most ingenious thing for your business. But I'm saying, if you're buying a Lambo purely, to impress others, not because you like the car, not because you're into the car, not because you can afford the car, but just because you think it'll, influence other people into liking you, or whatever, or, the stupid instant gratification. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. But those things are not necessary. Sure, you want to treat yourself, but they're not necessary, right? So those things, you get used to them. And when you get used to them, when you lose those things, you go through like a deep stage of depression. This happens to a lot of people that, like, I don't know if you've seen the statistics from lottery winners, but they spend almost all of their money, and then when they run out, they can't spend any more money because they weren't diligent with their money, right? And then they go through like deep depression. They do all these drugs because they got all this money, and then as soon as they like out of the money and they can't buy any more drugs or any of the cool things, they're just like I'm out. Like, what do I do? It's like all of it's just gone. So, like, boom, you're depressed and you have no more money. Like, but yeah, back to financial freedom, back to setting yourself up for financial success. I just thought I would go off on that tangent because I think it's really important. However, back to the main topic at hand. The first thing, like I said, you guys already got that. Percentage plan. Number 2, retirement. Now, you're probably asking, DJ, you're 17. Why are you talking about retirement? But let me also explain this. I personally do not have an IRA yet. I'm going to get one when I'm 18 or 19. but right now I do not. And that's just because I have all my money in like assets that are making me money, or not assets, just like stocks and like things that are paying me. And I don't see the point in getting an IRA until I'm legally even old enough to get one in the first place. I'm not old enough yet. But like, yeah, get an IRA because it is like completely tax free. Literally, you put the money in, and it's taxed as it goes in, and then you're literally just like, I think the max contribution is like $6,000 a year or something like that. But it's literally tax free, and then when you're like 50 or 60, you pop out and you're like super rich, and you can do whatever you want. You know, it's amazing. You only have to put down $6,000 a year, right? And you're probably, the problem that I see with a lot of people is that they think really short term, right? They don't think about like, 30 years in the future. They don't think, oh, when I'm 50, I'm going to be old as hell is what they're thinking. Like, they don't think that they're going to be in a place to enjoy and live life. And that was the thing that I had. That was a problem that I really had. I never really thought like into the future. And I say this now and I'm still super young, but like I have that problem still. I don't think till when I'm 50. I think till like when I'm 25, and then I feel old as hell. But you have to realize that 25 is young. It's very young. 30 is young. It's very young, and those are things that I'm still going through as well. But you have to realize, set yourself up for success in the future, because you'll thank yourself 20 years later. You're gonna have to force yourself now, because you're not gonna understand this. You're not gonna be like, oh wow, 50, I'm gonna be old, I'm probably not gonna be able to move. I've heard that one before. No, you're gonna have to force yourself. This is discipline. You're gonna have to put aside that money when you can. And that's the second thing, an IRA. The third thing is, to cut down on your expenses. So first of all, you got to track all of your money, where it's going, and you got to cut down on the things that are taking out the most money, that are not a need, that are a want, and they're like over 50% of like what you're spending, right? So for example, let's say you have a lease on a Mercedes E300, right? It's like $800 a month, right? And you're making $5,000 a month after taxes. You got to ask yourself, if 2,000 of that goes to rent and you have $3,000 left and you're spending $800 a month on your lease, is that something that you're going to be able to comfortably afford if you lose your job tomorrow? Is that something you can comfortably, live with, spending $800 a month on a car? Is that something that really makes you happy? If it is, then, all the best to you. But if it's something that, you have it and it's like a luxury, but you don't need it, I'd suggest like go on swapalease.com, get rid of that thing, and just get like an old like Mazda Miata 95, beater, like nice stick shift or something, something fun, right? That's my preference, but like you could do whatever. However, if you're using that car for your business, is a different story. But you get rid of that lease, you see how you've just freed up $800 a month that could be put into investments, that could be, saved and compounded year over year. You see that? 30 years from now, it's going to be worth almost $1 million, that $800 a month, something like that. I don't know if I'm right or not. Check me on that math, but that's one of the things. You got to cut down on your expenses. You got to figure out what you need to spend on, what you want to spend on. And I'm not saying, because I know Graham Stephan out there will tell you to cut down on literally everything. That's not me. I think that you should still enjoy life a little bit while you're living, because there still is the aspect of you might die tomorrow. But I also think there's a limit to that. Like, if you're going to be like spending a lot of money on like things that like a lease, for example, like it's just too much. It's too much. Personally, like I don't give myself a budget for going out, because I don't know how often I go out, but when I do go out, I say I spend around $500 to $600 a month, just like on just car, gas, insurance, hanging out with friends, getting food, all that stuff. Across the board, that's how much I spend. And like that for me is enough. And I still go out like 3 or 4 times a week, right? So you really got to look at it like that. Your entire monthly expenses is that $800 a month. If you can cut that down to $800 a month, and you can get a cheap car for like $5,000 down, and that's just the price of the car, you're literally set and you have no monthly overhead. But yes, this is how you set yourself up for financial success in the future. Literally 3 things, like I just said. But yeah, I hope you guys really liked the video. Subscribe to the channel. This helps you. Click the link in the description to the Instagram and follow it, because I'm going to be posting on that a lot, tracking my own business and my ventures and my trading and everything. You guys can see that. You guys can see how I'm progressing you know, as an entrepreneur, my life journey, everything. It's open to you guys. You guys can see it. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.